What's going on, everyone? This is Adam here, and to pass the time on quarantine day number 14, I don't even know what day it is, actually. I have my buddy Mike in here. He works for a company, BSN Sports. Mike, why don't you explain people what you do?
So basically, Adam, BSN Sports is the dirty little secret in all of sports. Mm-hmm. So we work with...
I thought that was steroids.
Nah, not too. But we're legal. We work with professional athletes, programs, collegiate, high school, little league, rec teams, you name it. Basically, we do it in the way of gear, uniforms, equipment, spirit packs, class rings, championship rings, graduation. If you have a team or you're a school that needs any spirit wear on campus, wearable for a varsity program or for just a mom sitting in the stands, we do it.
And then, so do normally people for you, I know you're like a rep, or your job currently right now is to go to like colleges and like programs to go try to grab their business, right?
Correct. So I work with a list of schools, working either with an AD, equipment manager, to a booster club or the coach directly to work with them on what their needs are, whether that's uniforms, cleats, a baseball bat. It just depends on what the sports needs particularly are at my given school.
You know what's crazy to think is, like, when you really think about all those things, you don't even realize how they happen. You know what I mean? Like, or even as a player, when I remember being a player growing up, it's like you just show up and there's a uniform there. You don't really think who gets it to you or how you get it.
And for the longest time, it was just coaches would be like, hey, guys, what do you think of this? Then they would try to shop it. They may or may not get a great price. Said, hey, guys, I need $20 on Friday.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, 6 weeks later, your hat shows up.
Yeah.
So we kind of tried to streamline the process. We're in 97% of all high schools across America.
Nice. Well, it's funny how like the niches. I feel like over the years, like it's just gotten like more intense. Like uniform. I mean, don't even start with travel ball uniform. Those things are like, to be on a travel ball team at the age of 12 now. Like you need your own fashion model to like keep all your stuff matching and all that stuff and all the uniforms and the different team names and all the high-end gear and everything matches down, and you got a away jersey, these jerseys. So what made you get into doing this?
I used to work at Sports Chalet before a long time ago, so working as a local rep out of a store. My main thing was baseball, still is to this day. But then a lot of the Sports Chalet guys, when Sports Chalet went under, transitioned into the BSN brand. BSN is a conglomerate now of over 310 different businesses. So a lot of times when you have a mom and pop that has serviced a community for a very long time, and then they start to go under, BSN will come in, or Varsity Brands is technically our umbrella company. They would come in and take that as an opportunity to advance their footprint and territory. No different with Sports Chalet. Also, as a Division I baseball umpire, one of the guys that used to work at Sports Chalet is a recruiter for BSN now, and he found myself as well as Billy Hayes and thought we'd transition very well into being a rep in our local areas.
What do you think that's the reason why like Sports Chalet and all these stores shut down? I mean, when you really think about it, it's crazy to think Big Five, especially in Riverside. Big Five is the only sporting good you can go to, because I think the other, like that and Dick's, but I think the only Dick's I really know of is all the way up in like Rancho off the 210. I don't know where there's a closer one.
Yorba Linda.
Is that where the other one?
Temecula.
Yeah, Temecula, right? So it's like, it's crazy to think that all those Sports Chalet and Sports Authority, like closing, like literally there's nowhere you go other than online now.
There is one other mom and pop sporting good in the Inland Empire that can sell equipment, but it's very limited. So for us, we have over 1 million individual SKUs. We have 5 warehouses that are stocked full even right now, even during this crazy quarantine. So we were talking off air here a little bit earlier. When this gets going and we actually turn the lights back on to reality, the wave of coaches that are going to be coming to us is probably going to be unprecedented. You have travel ball coaches right now that are used to saying, Timmy, Johnny, like you said, you're going to look like this. Well, now they're going to go to their guy or their mom and pop, and who's used to working with 5 teams at a time. And now they're going to have 25 teams. And the question is it scalable? What A is going to be able to survive this, and B, who has the scope in order to have the proper vehicle to move it forward when that wave comes?
I know. I think that, obviously I did a podcast yesterday with a small payroll girl who handles a lot of small businesses. And that's going to be the question is when people, because this is obviously going to go back to normal one day. And if it's next month or in 6 months or whatever, I mean, we were even just talking about the DMV. Like, who is going to be able to handle the X flow of everyone being cooped up that needed stuff to get done for it to be done in such a short amount of time and they're still expecting the same turnover rate? It's just not going to happen.
Managing expectations is going to be the big thing because we work with USC, UCLA. They're used to a very particular timeline. They order in March, so that way everything's ready for spring games, which then means for football, and then all their regular varsity uniforms are ready in September, so that way they have everything they need. Their equipment managers know exactly when everything's coming. They have at least 3 weeks advance notice.
Well, even like when I was in the minor leagues, like, God, like, it was always the worst when you're like, okay, I got spring training coming up. I need this here. And then all of a sudden you get an email like, hey, this is on back order. And you're like, well, I got to leave for spring training in 5 days. Like, when's it going to be here? And they're like, oh, we don't know. And you're like, I need it. What are you talking about? That used to always happen. I think that was a downfall of Honig's. I would go to Honig's all the time, drive out there because I didn't want to ship them, show up, and I'd literally like have a fat list of things I needed, and I'd leave with like a mass strap. And I'm like, okay, literally, you guys are worthless. Like, and they just couldn't handle. I think when they took over and then who took over? Umpatire took over. Are they still the rep? I can't remember. Yeah. So obviously, like, it's a big factor of people realizing like, obviously something's scalable and going to these new companies. And obviously you guys are a massive company. Is there a cost effective, like, is you guys cheaper than normal than mom and pops?
So with mom and pops, they are most likely going to be a tier 3. Tier 2 is going to be your big fives.
Yeah.
Where it's a mass chain, but they're going to pay at MAP retail pricing. So I'll use Nike because we're the largest provider of Nike as an example. Nike shoes cost $100. They say that's the MAP pricing. At a mom and pop, they may give you a deal and give you 20% off, so you buy them for $80. They're most likely buying them at $70. They're making $10 on a pair of shoes because Nike gives them a 30. Versus we buy them at cost, which means we buy them at 50% minus 20. So we're looking at everything going, okay, well, a $100 pair of shoes is 50 minus 20%. So you're looking at an additional off that, we take 40% off. So we'll sell the same shoe at 60. No mom and pop can sell it at that.
Because they're paying more than that.
Because they're paying more than that. And so, but the thing is, we don't go out and just say, hey, we sell shoes at $60. Because that's not our job. Yeah. Our job is to service our school. Because I'm not just selling Nike. I also sell Under Armour. I also sell Asics. I also sell Mizuno. And all those reps want me to push their stuff just as much as we push Nike.
Yeah, so you guys are more like massive teams, like, this colleges, full-on teams, programs.
That is how we started, but that's not where we're actually moving towards. Our new director of operations talks about white space and green space all the time, where, we're great at going and talking to that football coach. We're great at talking to baseball coaches. But who's talking to the badminton team? Who's talking to water polo, to golf? All these other underserviced teams need to be serviced, especially right now. So I'm working with Loma Linda University with the medical center, working in the NICU and working with the cardiac ICU because my daughter happens to be there. My wife works in the NICU. So I'm working with them because nurses have shirts. Next month is National Nurses Month. So it's like, why are we not servicing them? Why aren't we servicing the local businesses? Why do you have to pay $80 for a Nike shirt that has your logo on it when you could call me, knowing me, and be like, hey, Mike, and okay, the minimums are 12. You buy 12 of them now, and I do it for 35.
Well, the hard part is like anytime I have like ordered T-shirts, it's like the quality of T-shirt, like, because I used to work at a batting cage in high school, and that we really made all our money on screen printing. That's like all we did, like screen printing sweatshirts, team shirts. We literally handled, like, that was really what we were there for. We weren't there for actual batting cages, but the quality's never as good. It never comes out right. Like, it's off center, and it's like, and then you're like, dude, I still paid retail. It's like, and so it's like, the hard part is, it's like, I don't need to order 50 shirts. I just need 12. You know what I mean? And then it's like done wrong, and you're like, thanks, appreciate it.
And that's the scalability that we're talking about. Yeah. Like, say, I'll use Redlands as an example. There's 17 different people or companies that do silk screening in the city of Redlands. It's unheard of, just the density. It seems like everyone has a screen printer. Well, they'll buy their hard goods or their shirts blank from me, and then I'll send it to a mom and pop. Fine. I have no problem doing it. It makes less headaches for me. The problem is when a mom and pop now has 36 shirts, and one of them now is what you're talking about, off-center.
Yeah.
So the question A is, do they order one shirt, and do I charge them retail? Or does the mom and pop eat that?
Yeah.
Versus if they went through me, and we have 2 facilities, both over 1 million square feet, that just do decoration. That's all they do. And now all of a sudden, that screen moves that 1/4 of an inch, and now the thing's off. They go, oh, we messed up on that. They walked it. They make a call. It pulls off. It goes again. You never knew it happened.
Yeah.
But it's the reality of our business. Things happen in silk screen. Honestly, I don't think you're going to see silk screening in about 10 years.
What do you think it's going to go to?
Digital fusion, so what I'm wearing today,
Yeah.
it basically is a digital printer that prints the logo and then heat presses it on.
Oh, okay.
Or dye supplementation, where this shirt can be completely white, but it will come out red with your custom logo bled into the fabric.
Got it.
In any way you want possible.
Well, the hard part on the screen printing, it just takes so much time. Then you have the screens, and they're expensive, and then you got to pay for the computer to print them out, and then you got to line them, and then go over them. I mean, I used to do it, so I used to know. And then you got to throw them in the heater, and then you can push it through. It's not the most efficient process to go through.
No, I mean, you're talking, if you have we're going to take your logo, which is 3 colors. That's 3 different screens, assuming you don't change the size at all or location. So if you want your logo on a t-shirt in the middle, and then also on a pair of shorts, and then also on a polo, well, that's 9 different screens because it's 9 different sizes.
And then you try to just use one. You try to use one of the colors to be the shirt color. So that's one less screen. Yeah. That's the only thing. So now you have to choose what shirt color you want.
Yeah, and so they try to make it work, and there's ways of cutting corners, but if one is off, everything's off.
Well, and that's the thing that sucks. When one's off and they're all off, and then sometimes what sucks is you don't even realize it until like 3 weeks later, and you're like, dang, that one's off. Or you just catch it different, and you see it, and you're like, oh, that's not centered. And you're like, what do I do now? I can't really do anything about it, you know? But yeah, so your guys are trying to move more into just, obviously we know, because I used to be in a little bit of college baseball, and you're in college baseball. It's like we know the big college and basketball, football, like we know those 3 big sports are always paid attention to. So do you think are the other sports just not being taken care of at all, and they're all on their own, and just people just don't want to pay attention to them because they don't think the money's there, or they just don't, or just not like top thought of mind? You know what I mean?
I think a lot of it is it's not historically what sports marketing saw as sexy. But the fact of the matter is, working with certain programs, you go to a wrestling team and a badminton team and a swim team, those 3, and you could talk about over 200 shirts between those 3 teams very easily. Now, football is always going to get the lion's share of the budget. It's the main game.
That's where they make all their money.
So that's fine. But the other thing we have to remember is Title IX and LCAP.
Yeah.
So if I go to a baseball team and I talk to the baseball coach and I go, hey, coach, I want to give you new windscreen, some catcher's gear, and new hats. Okay, cool, Mike. I love the idea. Let's do it. I have the money in my budget. Well, what I do for him, I now also have to go and do for the softball team.
Yeah.
Vice versa, if I do it for the softball team, I'm supposed to do it for the baseball team. So why am I going to go and compete against 10 reps that are going and talking to that baseball coach when I can just go talk to the softball coach?
Yeah.
And she's probably being underserved. Women's sports right now is completely underserved, and it's one of the largest things that is coming up in our industry. Nike, Under Armour. Under Armour has a huge program with us with Women of Will where they're empowering women. They're cutting all of their uniforms completely different. Versus when you and I were growing up,
for boxes, it was like there's
here it is.
Yeah, there's one box. Here you go.
Hey, you're gonna get guys cleats. They're just going to be smaller.
Yeah,
there's no difference.
And you know who actually changed that? I thought was what's her name?
Jenny Fitch.
Yeah, she was the first girl when she came through, and she was like throwing fast pitch to MLB players. That was when like the pink gloves started coming out and the pink cleats. But before that, it was like just you play with boys stuff. I think it's interesting about just sports in general how there's so many opportunities out there. Like, I don't know, I don't have kids, but I think if I ever do have kids, I might try them to get away from playing baseball and football and basketball, Because, like, I mean, let's be honest. Went through the minor leagues. I know the odds of making it. So it's like if you're going to just try to like play in college, it's like the odds. Like if I would have a girl, you're playing golf. Like I'm sorry, like you're just playing golf because they have. I think the stat is that like 25% of women golf scholarships go unused each year. It's like you can be terrible and still get a scholarship. It's like why are you trying to fight for the top end things when really there's nothing left? The odds of you making are slim to none anyways.
I mean, one of my best friends and I, we joke all the time saying, hey, man, we should have just done curling.
Oh, for sure. God, can you imagine? So for you, like moving forward, like are you starting to realize like what the needs are of these other sports that you're just not, that most people just don't know about? So is it taking a little bit of a time for you to adjust to what their needs are?
For us and for myself, I try to always look at opportunities. I'm not going to say no to a football coach, obviously. But I'm also not going to take all of my time with someone who has their guy.
Yeah.
Like if another realtor came to me right now and was like, hey, Mike, I really want to sell your house. I'll be like, oh, yeah, thank you. Like,
Jen told me that. Jen said someone called her and was like, wanting to sell the house. I'm like, why would someone call you? That's random.
Because people are hungry.
I guess. I wouldn't call your guys' house, but okay. I mean, you just got it like 2 years ago, whatever it was.
But the fact is, I have my guy.
Yeah.
And it's feeling out. And you go, okay, fine. Not a problem. I'll service everyone else.
Yeah.
And I'll be on every other field. Well, eventually that coach is going to see, oh, he's servicing everyone really well. But we also know guys.
Yeah.
Guys don't talk the same way women do.
No, that's true.
And so now you work with the girls softball coach, you work with the tennis coach, you work with the golf coach. All of them start talking, and now you get a phone call from a badminton coach. You never knew who it was. Oh, okay, yeah. But you service them all the same way as that football coach.
Are you trying to go to ADs at all or no?
Yeah, we go. I always go to the AD first.
Okay.
I don't like walking on a campus and just talking to coaches unless I have a really good relationship prior without ever talking to an AD first. Because ADs know their district. There's also a lot of district money out there that is use it or lose it. So ADs know like when they need a new scoreboard, when they're getting windscreen. ADs normally don't want to get their hands dirty when it comes to spirit packs.
Yeah.
So that's like a little bit, but ideally it's to get everyone under one umbrella. So the cheer team is going to go under varsity cheer, which is us as well. All of a sudden the class rings, the banner's on, and all of the graduation stuff goes through Herf Jones. So it can try to go under what we would call an all-school deal, which then means there's money coming back.
Yeah.
So 10% of everything they buy, whether you buy it for them as a booster or I buy it as a parent and it's something I bought online on their online store, all of that money can now go back into their programs. Vice versa, say you have a booster that owns a local car dealership and now he decides to buy something for the team, that money goes into your program. And then also I should then be also servicing the boosters for a very particular program. So he owns a car dealership, his guys all need to say Lexus of Riverside on it. Okay, call me when it comes to polos.
Yeah.
Because you're already giving to a program. We might as well put everything under one umbrella, and I'm going to give you a better deal than you trying to go to Custom Ink or Amazon or any
Well, that's the thing, too. It's like, I really don't want to have the time to go in Custom Ink. Because I've gone on Custom Ink, and it's like, dude, I don't know how this is going to come out. And then you print them, and then if it comes out like crappy, and then you're like, and then it's like, it's just a headache.
Yeah, versus if you have a rep, you have one point of contact. I design it all for you. I send you all the proofs and say, this is what it looks like. Also, because you see what, maybe 2 shirts every year that you try to design, versus I see 2,000 shirts. I can tell when something's off and be like, you may not want to do this, and here's why.
Well, and they have other things to worry about too.
Yeah, it's being a consult for you.
Mm-hmm. So, are you seeing so for you, obviously everything's kind of shut down for the rest of the year. Are you at this point now? Are you just touching base with your clients just in email?
Yeah, it's mostly about empathy. I text them, I email them. BSN's done a great job where, like today, where you have a webinar right now for all the basketball coaches about how to inspire people while they're at home. We did an entire program on PE at home, and we sent that to all the PE teachers that they could send out to their kids. So it's giving online resources right now, giving empathy. We have what's known as the Team Art Locker, which is every single high school and college in this country, we already have preloaded in there. And we have over 800 art pieces that are already designed and done in vectored art that you don't have to pay for. So I send invitations to all those coaches, whether I've worked with them or not, and they can start playing with shirt design, shorts, and be like, oh, I can put this on a backpack. I could have this slogan. You can change the wording. And so it may say like One Pride. Well, okay, I want to say our team. And it's the exact same lettering, exact same font, but they can type it and start playing with it because, let's be honest, all of us are going stir crazy at home.
Oh, I know. They got nothing. It's crazy to think that like opening day it's not happening. And the unknown of like whenever sports are going to come back. I would imagine, I could not imagine being like, I mean, obviously I sell houses, but I couldn't imagine like if my job was like an online like YouTuber that talks about baseball every day. Like, what do you do? Like, you can't really like, there's so much you can talk about and they're already running out of things to say.
Oh, the talking heads hate the off season anyway.
Oh, I know. Well, that's especially because the NFL lasts every single day, and they're already burned through the Tom Brady going to the Bucs situation. So,
well, we had competitive belly flopping on ESPN yesterday.
Oh, really? I don't have cable, so I have no idea. So for you, obviously people are probably hearing that you're reaching, obviously you're more like D1 and colleges and stuff. What do people need to do if they're high schools that are travel ball teams? Do they just go directly to a rep? Is that the best way to go, or is it best to go on a website? Or
so anyone can go on bsnsports.com, which is our main corporate website. Mind you, that is very limited in its scope because it's designed to be a corporate website. It's not designed to be Amazon.com. And then you can ask to talk to a rep by calling into the call center. I have my list of schools, so I call on my schools. However, anyone can email me, and then I can get them in touch with their proper rep.
Yeah.
I'm sure since we're videotaping this, you guys can throw up the
Sure.
email, but it's just my name. It's mblinci, BLINCI, at bsnsports.com. Or I give out my cell phone number to everyone when it comes to my clients. So people just call me like, hey, I got your number from Adam. I have a travel ball team, and I want custom uniform. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually on the forums on like Facebook.
Yeah.
And like people are complaining, man, I got this. Da, da, da. I'm like, well, shoot me a text if you need anything. Like, really? What are you? And we explained to him. And then all of a sudden, like Billy did that up in Northern California. And this guy called him up, and all of a sudden 22 teams, like right now, this last few weeks ago, when we're dead and done, he's designing all these uniforms for them because all of our factories aren't in China.
Yeah.
A lot of our stuff is stateside.
Okay.
So we're keeping Americans employed right now. BSN as a company has not laid anyone off. So, and they're not taking any money from the federal government.
Got it.
Because our executive team doesn't believe in that we as a family should be giving up on anyone. Mm-hmm. So all of us decided to take a pay cut for the time being and still service because we're in the relationship business. Mm-hmm. And our executive team is actually not taking a salary until it's done.
Got it. And then for you guys, like, so, obviously some people don't know this, but you also assign umpiring for travel ball tournaments on the weekend. You and Billy do that throughout the California and throughout the West Coast. So are you trying to leverage that while you're trying to kill two birds with one stone?
I leverage it in some aspects where if I hear a problem, like you and I joke all the time, you don't sell houses, I don't sell jocks and socks, we solve problems. Yeah. If I hear a coach complaining about such and such, I will be remiss not to be like, hey, maybe I can help you. Mm-hmm. I'm not the guy that's going to put out a blast email like asking a tournament director, hey, can I have every email to all the coaches in this tournament and send out mass marketing. That's just not who I am because I believe it's a relational business. Yeah. That's not a relationship. So I do it on a piece-by-piece basis, but yeah, I'm at the tent where this tournament director is sitting, so I get to know a lot of the coaches.
Yeah. And then for you, like obviously you guys have Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, all these companies. So are you more leaning on towards whatever the college or team wants, or are you leaning more on like what kind of products will fit teams better?
The answer is both.
Yeah.
So you walk in and you may have a coach that is a Nike guy. You're like, and you know what? Nike is not the best brand for him. You're not going to convince him of that.
Yeah, no.
He's been a Nike guy for the last 20 years. This is what I want. This is how fine. And a lot of times when they sign an all-school deal, they'll sign it under a single brand. And let's be honest, every sports company gives incentives for them to sign under a single brand. But if they don't and they just do it under BSN, you may have a softball team that's Mizuno. You may have a baseball team that's more New Balance heavy. You may have a football team that's Under Armour with a soccer team that's Nike at a BSN school. Normally you want uniformity in the teams. However, with BSN, we also do, which certain sports companies aren't exactly happy with, have our own private label brand, which is basically designed off of a Nike, Under Armour, Adidas product that is identical.
So it's like the Amazon.
Yeah.
Like, is it cheaper?
A lot cheaper. So I'll take a Nike Vapor baseball uniform, dye supplemented, put it on the table and go, okay, we all know this is $75 for this jersey. Take the exact same one, lay it on the table, which is the BSN one, which we call our victory line, and it's $30.
Well, that's beneficial. I mean, because not everyone we know this. Some colleges have no budget. I mean, some of their budgets is so low. I mean, we're like begging for stuff and they can't even get it. I mean, I feel bad for some coaches that they're trying to run a baseball team or whatever, and they don't have L screens, they don't have this, they don't have that. Like, there's just no money at some teams.
And okay, we'll bring it to another industry. A car dealership knows when certain things are going on sale. Just like when I was at Sports Chalet, I knew when a treadmill was going to go on sale a month from now. I also know when certain things are going on sale, but I also dictate the price. Yeah. So if I have a coach that I know for a fact does not care about price, which hardly ever happens, but at certain schools it does, and he goes, I want this L screen. I had a coach the other day that asked me for a Fungo Man, which is $18,000 pitching machine. You're like, okay. Like, you don't care if you spend $800 on an L screen. Yeah. Versus I have another coach that barely gets by and is like, I need an L screen. Well, I know we have an L screen that's going on special in 2 weeks that happens to be $175. So he'll be like, oh, well, I need this, but I don't know if I have the money for it. I'll be like, look, coach, wait 2 weeks. Why? I'll order it and I'll put everything in. I know you need it, but just wait 2 weeks. Because that's when Jugs or whoever the company is allowing us at this price.
Does it go seasonally, you think, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, when it comes to price point, there's always a map price that I can't go below. But it's not, I tell all my clients, it's not my job to screw you over. Yeah. Shop me. Yeah. But I shop myself all the time. I believe in Miracle on 34th Street. If somebody else has a better price, just tell me. Yeah. Because this whole, I'm going to use you to now bid down, like, all you're doing is hurting a mom and pop. You're hurting your friend that you've, quote unquote, have a relationship with by having it bid off me.
Well, because you're just so massive. You just can charge less. You order more. Organization or companies give it to you cheaper.
Yeah, and if I don't have a relationship with you, I'm going to give it to you at what basic market cost is. Your buddy will probably give it to you $5-10 cheaper. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. But I'm not like, if you tell me, I can't beat that price. I would be remiss to find something that we can't beat the price on.
Well, and then here's, I mean, we both know this, we're in business, but it's like, do you break even on that deal to sign a contract for a bigger deal? You know what I mean? And it sucks, like, mom and pop shops, like, they're great for what they are, but you come to a point where you just can't beat the cost. And sadly, and if you're someone that has to worry about nickel and diamond in an overhead, and especially, I don't think people realize the D1 schools, they get a lot of money, but the JUCOs, the D3s, the D2s, they don't make a lot of money. They're not cash cows. They don't have the money. I mean, freaking RCC, they don't have that much stuff that they can get by with.
Well, it's amazing you bring up RCC because it's one of our schools. Their football program did an amazing job this last year. And then talking with their equipment manager, how now it's coming to this year and they have these huge expectations, but they're not getting anything else. Yeah. Because they have a new AD coming in, and it's like, no, I don't have the budget for you. Yeah. But you'd think they would have the championship shirts, all the newest stuff, like, And that's what you're expecting from most D1 programs, but they just don't have the budget for it, which is sad. And they can't live on boosters the same way that a lot of high schools can.
Yeah.
So they have to now look at sponsorships because of the rules in the college field. So now it's like, okay, well, can you get a IE Realtors to sponsor and put their banner on the wall in order to get that extra 10 grand in order to get what we need to keep recruiting the same talent of players to keep this train rolling?
Well, it's funny because actually one of my friends that I am on a committee with at Victoria Club, that's her job at RCC. She has to go out and find money. She just goes and starts making phone calls. Hey, we need this. We need to get a budget. We need that. Like, and it's a crazy thing. Like you said, you win state and you don't even have T-shirts. You can't even have the money to get a T-shirt. Like, it's unbelievable.
Which it's sad that they're going through an AD switch right now, because I know Josh, who happens to be their main contact, has worked so hard to be like, if you would just get an all-school deal and just sign it, you would have all the money you need.
Yeah.
Because the gate of just the shirt sale that they would have had with a sideline store at that for what they just went through would have paid for all of their reconditioning, would have paid for new gear this year, just in the 10% they would have gotten back. Like working with certain schools, they know they have a new scoreboard coming or video board because the district's PO'd it for them for this year. I told them, if you don't sign an all-school deal for at least this year, you're nuts. Because if you buy a $100,000 video board and the district's buying it for you and you get 10% of that, you get $10,000.
Yeah.
That's your budget for 6 sports for next year. And you have a lot of ADs this year that all of a sudden now have money that they have to use by the end of the school year, even though there may not be a school session, but by the end of the school year, but they've now not paid for buses. They've not paid for referees for all these sports and officials. So they have all this extra money that they're going to lose or they need to use. So I have a lot of ADs now coming to me and going, hey, what opportunities can I get in order to do all of this with this money? And they're trying to make their facilities as beautiful as possible coming into this next year to give themselves a competitive advantage.
Well, and that's the thing, too, that's interesting is that it's going to be to see like the lack of how long this goes if the momentum of sports slows down a little bit, you know? Or does it super increase because people are so desperate for it?
I think you're going to see a desperation for sports just with our society. Also, I think that you're going to find a new niche in sports where now you're taking baseball that was 162 and now you're compressing the season.
Dude, that's what they should have been doing. Oh my God, dude, don't even start it. They should have been doing that for years now. I don't know the whole argument. Like I would love to sit in a room in MLB and be like, who in this room wants more games? Please. Who in this room wants 162 games? Because I know the players don't. I know the umpires don't. The fans don't. They don't come every single night. So who in this room wants it? I have no idea that answer. I would love to hear who actually wants 162 games. They're actually talking about doing 2 doubleheaders a week. That's insane. Then they're going to have to go 40-man. We're going off topic right now about baseball. But then they're going to have a 40-man roster throughout the year to have enough pitching. So then you think about that. Normally it's 26. Now you're taking 14 extra guys from the AAA or AA. Now you got to bring on 14 more guys. And then they were just talking about this might be
at league minimum.
At league minimum. So then here's a question. This is where I think they finally get rid of like the Arizona League. This is where I think they finally get rid of rookie ball. Because everyone's going to go up. And then they're going to be like, "Well, we made it last year without the Arizona League and Florida State League. We don't need them anymore."
Which means you're going to get a lot more independents, and independents are going to take over the Arizona Fire League, and all of the rookie balls, and you're going to see a lot more of the Northwoods, and that's where we would come in helping the local communities. Because let's be honest, the Dodgers do not need our help.
No,
their buying power is just as big as us.
Oh, for sure.
We will help. Like we work with the Quakes.
Oh, do you guys?
Yeah. So like Chris Pope over at the Quakes, like he and I have talked about doing a lot of stuff for their staff. We've worked with them historically before. So it's like we work with on that side of the professional game. The Dodgers don't need our help.
Yeah, they don't need. They're not looking for. They don't need BSN jerseys. No, they're good. They're like only $75 for a jersey. Steal. That's another thing that's stupid. How much jerseys are to buy? Like I don't have any players because I don't care. But can you imagine spending $500 on a team jersey? That's retarded. Who would? First off, how's it that expensive? Not like the player wore it. And then who would pay for that?
A lot of people.
I know, it's retarded. And then they wonder why the economy's like, why we can't we're freaking out because no one has work for 2 weeks and now we can't pay the bill. Stop buying $500 jerseys. Go buy a BSN knockoff jersey for half price. That's the best. That might be the best pitch ever right there. Listen, be prepared for the next coronavirus. Buy BSN gear. Stop buying the really expensive stuff. You can't afford it. So I'm interested to see that, if that will finally take away. And then in our world, umpiring, so now that's less guys getting jobs, right? Less guys each year, more guys in indie ball. Like,
I think you're going to also see a new level of excitement because the games are worth more.
yeah.
You look at college baseball where everything's ramped up for 15 weekends. The midweeks are
Whatever.
negotiable on what it's supposed to be, but the 15 weekends is what matters. Could you imagine if you told professional baseball you have 20 weekends?
Can you imagine if they did a March Madness?
Oh,
That would be so much fun, dude. That would be so cool. I think that would be really cool.
you have enough time to ramp it up. I mean, you look at football. Football is essentially the same thing. Everything ramps up for, whether you're talking about college or professional, you're talking about everything ramps up for the weekend. Basketball, it's all about the big game. It's all about Saturday night, Friday night, or the holiday. That's it. Hockey is essentially the only weird outlier, but they still only have 82 games. It's still half. But I also think that hockey has the best playoff system of any.
Oh, for sure. Well, and the NBA is talking about going into that way.
Yeah.
But I would love, that'd be so cool to have a mid-season tournament, single game elimination. It'd be cool because I don't think it's add more teams to the playoffs. I don't think that. I don't think that's the play. I think it's more one game elimination games. That'd be the cool part.
Or just make everything best out of 3.
Yeah, exactly. Or that. But I just think that I really do hope that this year they'll realize, hey, we don't need 162 games anymore. And they're talking about going and playing the World Series in December. And what it makes no sense to me, then you have January, and then in February, pitchers report. How are you going to only take 1 month off? That doesn't make any sense either. And Ron Manfred's for sure losing his job. 100%.
We are so far off topic now.
I know. Sorry, baseball rant for a second. I'm actually thinking about doing a podcast where get a player or a coach, and then it'd be like the player and the umpire, and we talk about like what's going on in baseball.
I can get my boss. He used to pitch for the Angels.
Or we talk about like situations, like ejections. That's not a bad idea. Argue ejections as a player and a manager, or as an umpire and a manager, and like run it through and be like, who would
call Percival over at?
Oh yeah, call Percy. Be like, yo, let's talk about ejections, and see what you think, and I'll see what I think, and we'll see who's right.
Troy Percival is one of the best individuals on this planet.
He's a nice guy. I think that's the one thing that does suck about sports is that there's some guys that are really cool, especially in our world, that are really cool and you deal with too, really great to interact with and just totally get it, and they're nice and they understand and they're not jerks, and they might get fired up because it's passionate, but then there's some guys that are just jerks that just day in, on and off the field, they're just jerks. You don't want to deal with them, and then you want to be like, who hired you? How'd you get a job? No one likes you. I always love that when no one likes their head coach. I'm like, how does this guy have a job? Makes no sense to me.
Most of the time it's because they're a brilliant mind.
Exactly. Well, that's debatable in all things. I truly think out of all sports, baseball manager is the most overrated position in all sports.
Mm-hmm. I'll argue that for a while.
For who? Who do you think's less?
Basketball.
You think so?
You have LeBron James on the court. He's not going to do exactly your system.
Oh, yes. That's if you have LeBron James.
Okay. You could say that about any, look at the teams that have won and the teams that are built.
I would just say the only thing is there's a better chance of you having a superstar. Anyways, I just think my argument to that is how when a manager gets ejected in the first inning of a baseball game, it still goes on without them. Bobby Cox, perfect example. Anyways, we're going way off topic right now, but that was funny. So anyways, Mike, why don't you tell everyone obviously you gave out your number and you gave out your email, but what's another way people maybe can get a hold of you?
Like I said, the best way is email, just because I get inundated all day, every day with emails or requests. Like I have umpires. Like I created just an online store for umpires for fitness. And it's just a little My Team shop. So for the people that are stuck at home going crazy with their kids, like you can buy jump ropes and everything just to keep them entertained. But I also get requests from guys all the time. Hey, can you get me golf clubs?
Yeah.
Can you get me some running shoes? Like, it's helping people out.
Yeah.
But the main thing is, if you have a request, email. The main one would also be with corporations now, because frankly, I'm not going to schools. I'm not on the sidelines the way I was a month ago.
Yeah.
So we all, like all the reps, and if I don't have, like, you call me and you're from Modesto. Realistically, I'm like, oh yeah, I'd love to help you, but you should talk to
so-and-so
X person. And then I would move them over.
Got it.
So I can get you in touch with people who's the correct person in your area. But corporations, especially right now, I think is where you're going to see BSN really start to move to, and be able to help them in a way that they didn't know was possible.
Well, I think even like when you're a corporation trying to put on a golf tournament, just that, you know.
And just you think of the shirts that you see that are sold at a local bar. Yeah. I mean, think of Duke's Bar and Grill. Yeah. Just down the street, you're like, his staff has T-shirts on.
Yeah, you gotta have them
the whole time. It's like, okay, well, why is he needing to spend X amount of dollars on that when he can spend $10 less per shirt?
Exactly.
And help them out, and so then that way, BSN can't live in the shadows anymore. Is basically what our executive team has come out with. It used to be we were Nike forward, Under Armour forward, and they were the big sexy name, and we were the logistics behind it. Well, now it's we became such a vehicle that Nike's actually buying back product from us right now because we have it stateside. Okay. And they're worried about being able to have everything that they need, so they're buying it back from us. Okay. So it's now we're moving into that spotlight, and corporations should take notice of it and try to get in front of that train instead of trying to jump on the back of it later.
Well, I think what's interesting is, a lot of people have been calling me about, what are you doing? What's going on this? The one thing I will say that this time is for everyone is to, one, take the downtime to learn how to put your systems in place that you've been pushing off that we need to get done. And then two, everyone's just trimming fat right now. So it's like you said, do I really need a shirt with a swoosh on it? Or could I do a BNS or sports shirt or whatever? It's like you just start realizing, like, what do I really need? And that's why I think the one good thing that will come out of this, and what always comes out of this, is people start cutting the fat. And you start realizing, like, we don't need Under Armour. We could take this shirt. And it's as good, and it's way cheaper, and we can get done what we need to get done. So, but appreciate the time, Mike. Remember, guys, we're doing these podcasts right now because, one, a lot of people have a lot of downtime. Two, it's tough out there right now, especially for anyone. Mike's taking a business cut, and he's a massive company. He's still taking a money cut. His bosses aren't even getting paid. I'm taking hits with clients. Other things are getting hit. So we're just really trying to help people promote themselves, and the aspect of it, taking this time to push out content and letting more people know, because we do have a lot of downtime right now that we kind of forget about it because we get in the days of selling and moving and meeting and stuff like that. So remember, guys, if you are a small business or someone that wants to get on here and chat because you got some downtime, please come on by. We are doing anything and everything to be safe in this place. We are washing our hands. We are using hand sanitizers. We are staying away from each other. So until next time, guys, peace.